Let's look at the things that we have to note for the present perfect tense. As I said, it's one of the most challenging tenses in English, so there are a few things we have to look out for and keep in mind. Let's look at the first thing. We can use many time words with the present perfect. For example, today, this week, this year, this morning, etc. When we use them, we always mean that the time period is continuing now and will continue in the future. You can think of it like the phrase so far or up to now. So as I mentioned in the previous lecture, this is one of the key things you have to remember for the present perfect. The time period we're talking about hasn't finished. It's continuing. But the present perfect describes the time period so far, up to now. Things might change in the future, but so far I've done this. That's the difference between the present perfect and the past simple. The past simple is talking about a time period that's finished in the past. But the present perfect is talking about a time period that's continuing. It started in the past, it's continuing now, and will continue in the future. So think of it as like so far, up to now. Okay? Let's look at the second thing. In the present perfect, we can contract has and have with the subject. For example, he's is he has, she's she has, I've I have, you've you have, etc. This is another small thing that you can note, the contraction of the subject and has or have. So if I say, I have visited Japan 3 times, I can contract I and have to become I've. I've visited Japan 3 times. This is much more common in spoken English. We contract I and have to become I've. Similarly, if I say, he has visited Australia twice, I can contract he and has to become he's. He's visited Australia twice. So look out for these contractions when you use the present perfect. Let's look at the next thing that we have to note. As I mentioned in the previous lecture, we use ever to mean in your life. For example, have you ever met a famous person? This means, in your life, have you ever met a famous person? So ever is always talking about in your life. Similarly, never is the negative version. We use never to mean not in your life. For example, I have never seen the movie Toy Story. This means, in my life, I have never seen Toy Story. So never means not in your life. Finally, we use been to mean visited or went in the present perfect. For example, I have been to Mexico 3 times. Or we've been to 3 weddings this week. So been is the past participle of go. there you have it. Those are the things you need to note for the present perfect tense. Move on to the practice exercises, the speaking and the listening for this tense. This will take your understanding to the next level. Don't forget also to download the MP3s and the PDF, which has all the transcripts of the MP3s. Download all that, listen as much as you can, and train your brain to master the present perfect.